Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm on chess.com and I just got paired up playing now a 5-2 game. So let's see how this plays out. Play fast, hopefully. And let's see what we get. Okay, so they're looking to build with d5. Let's go d4 and then e3. I'll try to avoid the Mirren variation. I won't be deploying my bishop to d3 so soon. Okay, well they're deploying their bishop outside the pawn chain, so I'm going to look to hunt him down on e6, knight h4. Bishop here, bishop g6. Okay. I'm not going to be so quick to take him. I'd like to see black castle first before there's maybe some play along the h-file. So I'm just going to hold off for a little bit. He's really not going to go anywhere anyhow. So I think it's a good idea to maintain the tension, in other words. I'm wondering a little bit about this move f4. Just clamping down on this potential e5 advance. I'm going to give it a shot. My knight is unprotected, but I don't think that should be so much of an issue. On knight e4, I think I take and then take on e4. b4 could be supported with f4 or the other knight. I don't think I'm really threatening to do a move like this. The main idea is to clamp down in this square. Okay. So let's follow through. Knight takes bishop. They might throw an in-betweener in here. Knight takes knight. I have to be a bit mindful of this move, queen h4. Okay, so they are going with that. So I'm playing with the bishop pair. I don't have really anything I have to recapture. And so I have to be a little bit careful now of queen h4 and also g5, which would converge on h2. I'm thinking about g3. Let's go with g3. Yeah, g3 seems fine. I know it's weakening the two light squares, but then again I have my light square bishop. That's a bit of a mysterious move. I'm not sure why they committed their king so quick. This is a half-open file. Well, let's just go here right away. See what they do. How are they going to react to their b pawn? Keep some tension, or keep some flexibility with my c4 pawn. Maybe push, maybe takes. I'd like to have, ideally, I'd like to have the position open up. A bit happy to see that. Now there's really no idea of g5. Okay, well, I would imagine if I play c5, the bishop will react, and then soon there will be b6 striking at c5. I wonder if I can try for an e4 break. Maybe I should look for that. Bishop d3. I think I like bishop d3. Yeah, let's go with that. I think this is an improvement. A nice square, watching over my weakest point, e4, and maybe this allows for my queen to take up a nice residence on f3. As far as my queen bishop, I really don't know what it should be doing. So we'll just have to wait. This can't be too comfortable for black, having the queen tethered to the defense of the b-pawn. So maybe the way forward is queen f3 and e4. Let's go queen f3. Let's get some quick moves in. So on e4, this move will basically be forced, as otherwise I'm advancing, gaining space, maybe grabbing some material with a fork. Alrighty. Bishop d2. Is queen a6 an idea, I wonder? Should I hit with this right away? e4. I know I'd be giving up my light square bishop, but They'd have to give up their center and my queen would take up a strong post. I'm going to shoot for that. So I'm giving back the bishop pair in exchange for what exactly? I think it's my compensation. What I'm reasoning here is that I have a strong queen position in the center, and they have given up their central point d5. I still have this isolated pawn situation. This is still an idea at some point. And maybe I should do this right now. So this might be on the cards. This rook is unprotected, so this pawn is pinned. Can't move. They currently have a disconnect between their rooks, so maybe I should try and take advantage of that. c5. And then try and make some headway on this file here. Yeah, pawn c5, bishop back, or pawn up takes, bishop e7. Maybe a4, a5? a4, a5, pawn takes, and then c5? I'm going to try that. Let's get my a pawn contributing. On c5, I think I'll play d5. I'm not so sure about that, though. Maybe I'll leave it sitting. Yeah, we're going to see. They have c5, king e7. No? Okay, so maybe I should play h4. Yeah, let's do this h4 move. This is aimed at preventing king h7. You know, king h7, I could play h5, and then the h file can open up. Okay. Ooh, that's an interesting move. I didn't consider that at all. All right. King g2, for some reason, I think is a fine move. Yeah, I didn't consider that move at all. I think that's a good move. He's going to find a fine home on the 5th rank. Let's just move my king up. A little closer to the center. I'm not quite sure how to improve here. So in situations like this, well, I certainly don't want to hurt my position, so, let's try for d5. This is going to come under some fire. I have rook d1. I don't know if my rook really needs to stay on f1. I think I want to keep him on b1. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I am in a pin here. The bishop moves, and then this pawn is hit a real lot. Also, the queen is on the same diagonal here. Okay. All right. I think rook d3. Yeah, rook d3, not d2, because I'm trying to put them in a pin. Pawn takes, pawn takes. If rook takes, I have rook here, and they're in a pin. If my rook is on d2, there could be a capture with check. Okay. What am I missing here? Isn't that a blunder? Oh, they're going to go for 2 rooks. 2 rooks for the queen. I see. Oh, but no, that's not working, because in the end I get the bishop? I think they blundered. No, they have that move. My mistake. However, I should have some compensation here. I think I'm still better, even though I'm down a pawn. Queen takes? I pretty much have to do that, right? One moment. Yeah, let's do that. And then get to the 7th rank. So I'm going to get the pawn back. This rook is misplaced. So rook d7. Why aren't they recapturing my queen? Okay. Rook d7, let's pre-move this. So in the end, I have a fork and a much more active rook. And I may not want to... Yeah, let's do this first, actually. The rook isn't going anywhere. Yeah, it's saying that they had a disconnection, or a connection issue, but they are back. I think I want to avoid that exchange because I don't want to activate their bishop. Let's do this. The rook is still out of play. I'm threatening g4. I think they missed that. Defends h4, so now they're in a real pickle. Now I think I could exchange all the pieces and then win the king and pawn ending. Their king can't be fast enough. He's in the corner. Yeah, I think this is a one king and pawn ending. I get to d5, I get to play c5, and then I hunt down their a pawn. Oh, I missed that move. Let's just take. Oh, that was a mistake. Maybe. They have a quick track to my h4 pawn. Maybe I should have played g5 there. Alright, well, I'm pretty much locked into doing these moves, although maybe I could play into this square. I don't have much time to really count it out. King h6. This should be good. I'm going to go towards this pawn, actually. I think I'll win the tempo race. I'd like to have this side of the board traded off. On king g4, I have h5. And then on king takes pawn. We'll see. Oh, I didn't see that move. Why not? Let's make sure I don't lose on time. And now I'm just losing. Oh, that was terrible. This is a lost ending right here. Anyhow, I lost on time, but this is a lost ending. King here, and I'm just losing. Oh, that was so stupid at the end right there. I should just play g5, right? g5, king here. Their king is fast. You know what this would turn out to be? I guess a draw right here. Yeah, I can't win this position. Yeah, I'm out of pawn moves. And here's another thing. I wonder. Right around... Actually, let me just pop up analysis real quick so I could make moves a little bit easier. So right here on f5, g5, king here, go in this direction. I was completely blind to this idea of f5. King here, chop, and then they go here. That should hold. Yeah, I was thinking I just have a very fast track to get this pawn. Not the case. Yeah, so I could have gotten a draw. I was thinking I was getting more. I wonder if it was still a fine idea to go in for this. Taking the bishop, in other words, and then going into the king and pawn ending? Is that really just turning out to be a draw? I'll be interested to see what the computer has to say. I certainly spoiled at least a draw at the end here. And, yeah, I don't know about this resulting structure also, come middle game. And this structure right here. He was always a little bit awkward. I was wondering a bit about actually this move, putting pressure here, and then maybe this advance. Because the c5 move kind of, it decreases his mobility slightly. Like it rules out this advance. I guess they had it where they were gunning for this d5 pawn, which I think I was able to support well enough. I mean, well, I ended up losing him, but yeah, I ended up with an active rook like this. Yeah, maybe right around here. I think c4 is still fine. And capturing, yeah, I don't know about this, because now the material, if I go in this direction, I mean, the rook has two fine options. This is probably petering out to be a draw. Yeah, most likely a draw, taking here, and then approaching with my king. It'll probably be the case that the queenside pawns are all exchanged, and then it's a 3-on-3 over here, which is fairly easy to hold to a draw. But yeah, it was felt a bit promising when we got to this position right around here. Maybe something better at this point? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I didn't even consider this. Maybe I can try and keep the kings on the board with this king here. I'll be looking at it with the computer shortly, but I just want to devote some of my own thoughts immediately after the game here before checking to see what the computer has to say. So I wonder if I could move the bishop and then try and get here. I don't know. Like, I wonder if this is an idea, actually. I know I'm down a pawn, but these two pawns restrict these three. So I'm not really viewing it as if I'm down a pawn so much. I'm thinking about this move so that I have this idea. So let's say on takes. Well, they could go in for this right now and still go in this direction. Yeah, I don't know. And if I'm to avoid the bishop exchange right here with this move, this f5 move hits again, and he's just blocked, and I can't really cross in the center with my king. Interesting ending. We're gonna have a look and see about this one right out of the opening and middle game and end game with Stockfish. So give me a second. I load it up and we'll see how we can improve. Okay, well, let's have a look at this one. Never fun to have to go over your losses, but it's where you really improve. Find make some adjustments here. So, okay. Where do things heat up? Where is there some big shift? It points out bishop e4, but okay. Let's get to something more serious position. Let's see. Slight pull for me. Okay, it's pretty much only locked in on this g3 move on move 12. I wanted to sidestep, I wanted to prevent queen h4. Also points out rook b1. Rook b1 and on queen h4, I guess simply h3, huh? Okay. And then rook to b8. C takes, E takes, and then trying to open things up. I guess that's a fine way to do it. This is a satisfactory construction for my kingside pawns, G2, H3, to combat the H-file pressure. Okay. G3 can't be bad, I don't think. King F8. Still just a pretty balanced position. Queen F3. I really didn't have any other candidate moves. I did point C5 out, not at this point, but I figured after C5, soon B6 would happen. It's calling for after C5, C4. Okay, and what would happen if black hits with B6? Okay, they're calling for... Bishop to A3 to reinforce C5, but actually, how about this? Suppose the bishop maintains pressure on C5. C4, queen C7, queen B3, rook B8. I'm not seeing in any of the variations B6 happening. I guess black still has to be a bit cautious. You know, one thing I was pointing out at a certain point, that there's that disconnection between the black rooks, and I wonder if I had thought about that earlier, I would have, let's say, saw the B6 follow-up in response to the C5 move. You know, this B6 move at some point, maybe I would have seen this as Well, black, on the other hand, yes, is striking at my c5 pawn, but is creating tension and welcoming the opening up of the files, and maybe I should be welcome to that because of the disconnection between the rooks. It still takes some time with king here, king h7. If black is opening up the queen side, that could eventually come back to bite them. Okay. Just trying what I'm doing right now, and this is what I do when I review my own games. I try to adjust my... I reflect on the thought process that I had during the game, and I try to fine-tune it, try and make some adjustments, and try and correct or think about the position in a different way. Okay, queen f3 can't be too bad. It's development. e4, yeah, this is where I was really struggling. I think I was going to go with bishop d2, but all right, e4. Get the queen position, and rook h5 is being called for right now. They eventually did that. And yeah, now it's pretty evenish. Well, it likes rook h5 right now for black instead of king to g8. Okay. What about the endgame though? Yeah, I was really lacking something to do here. They're really not it's not really a clean approach here. Rook a1, that's a tough move to make. Rook a1, rook a5, rook fd1, queen c8. Ugh. Where's she headed? Right here? I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough position that I'm in here. Regarding my structure, it's one that's pretty, well, it's not so flexible. There's not really a good pawn break, in other words, that I'm seeing that I can make that would help my pieces more, help mobilize my pieces. There isn't a good pawn break that helps my pieces. Whereas for black, maybe at some point, maybe there's b5 due to this active versus pretty passive rook. If he's ever going elsewhere, if he is ever unprotected, the b5 strike can hit. I'm in a tough spot here. d5, queen b7. It likes just taking right away. And then queen d7. Would have been fine with that because of this move. Queen f3. Oh, okay, I'm dropping a4. Rook fc1. Yeah, I'm down a pawn, but there is some compensation, as we could see by the evaluation, and it is due to this rook on h5. Yeah, he has to go back, king h7, but even then it's tricky because I get to break with h5. And yeah, it's an interesting position. Yeah, pretty interesting position. I have a passed pawn, a connected passed pawn. They have a passed a pawn. Okay. They did queen b7, and we got to this position. Again, it's important not to go to d2. I thought, at least, because after this... Oh, well, if I take right away, this is what I was thinking, where if I try and pile up on the pin, they get to take with check. So that's why I went to d3. Kept my rook off of the same rank as my king. And it has it as even right here. Queen d7 is best. Capturing wasn't good because of what happened in the game. So they should have played rook to d7 here. Or excuse me, queen d7. Keeping an eye on my a4 pawn and c4. If I do this, there's queen takes a at some point. Okay, so they went right in for the pawn capture, and this is what played out in the game. Bishop f6, so the last several moves for both sides were computer moves, but many forced. Bishop c3. Aha. I just want to approach with the king right here, giving a pawn advantage, and mind you, I'm still down a pawn. Huh. King f3. And bishop takes, king takes. He's still misplaced. I will get that pawn back. Yeah, you know, I had it in my mind. I know it was a very quick calculation, but I was seeing, well, what did I do? I retreated with this idea, which is still an okay move, but not the best. The rook can activate like this now. I should have moved forward with my king. But now it has it as +2, so this, I guess, is winning? Oh, suggesting a check first. I played g4 right away, and that's throwing everything away, I guess. Let's double check this ending. Chop, rook d8. Yeah, this is holding as a draw, but after a capture, it's still holdable for a draw. I guess I have to play c5. No, king d5. Oh, okay, king d5 and king here. Wait, what's the draw here? I played king there. Still a draw. It's still a draw with king to d5. King g4. Oh, okay, just hunting down this pawn, and we have a race where I guess we both queen. King g3. And I get the queen first, but this would still be a pretty interesting ending. Because the a-pawn could drop and we'll have another pass pawn. Interesting. Okay, yeah, I guess I could have gone in that direction, but I went in the completely wrong direction for sure. That was a very basic mistake right here at the very end. But yeah, not taking the bishop and instead inserting the check first, or excuse me, not playing g4 just yet. Giving a check, king h7, and then g4, and then, rook to this square here. Yeah, now it's just, he's just completely out of play. It calls for g5, and he's completely stuck. Actually, wow. Look at that. Chop, chop, king g3. Both king and rook are simply not playing. I wish I would have seen that. To insert rook d8 check first. I was too quick to give this rook a kick. That would have been really simple too, if I had seen this check first and only here. Oh well. Ah, man, a missed opportunity there at the end. And a missed opportunity as well to try and get a draw. Ended up losing. Interesting. Okay, well, anyhow, as usual, feel free to leave any comments in the comment section below to this video. And as usual, I hope you got something out of it. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.